Hi, I'm Rosen with Keller Williams here in Chicago. If you're shopping for a home near the river, low-lying neighborhoods, or even parts of the suburbs, you've probably heard about flood zone. Now, hearing the word flood zone can sound intimidating, but it doesn't always have to be a deal breaker. What it does mean is that you need to go in with your eyes wide open. Today, I want to break down the 5 big things you need to know about buying in a flood zone so you can weigh the risks, cost, and benefits before making a decision. Number 1, extra insurance costs. Let's start with the one that hits your budget first, insurance. If a property is in a FEMA-designated flood zone, most lenders will require flood insurance in addition to your regular homeowner's insurance. Depending on the zone, it can cost anywhere from a few $100s to several $1,000s per year. For example, I worked with a client in Jefferson Park who fell in love with a home near the Des Plaines River. The house was priced right, but once we factored in the $2,400 per year flood insurance premium, their monthly payment jumped by almost $200. That's a big deal when you're planning your budget. So the takeaway is always check what the insurance requirement is before you get too emotionally attached to the property. Number 2, financing challenges. If a home is in a flood zone, lenders typically won't approve the loan until you show proof of flood insurance. That means you need to shop for a policy and have it ready during the closing process. Some buyers are surprised when they're pre-approved for a certain amount, but then the flood insurance premium increases their monthly payment beyond what the lender originally calculated. This can actually affect how much home you qualify for. But it's not impossible to buy, far from it. But you want to factor those details in early so you're not scrambling at the last minute. Hidden maintenance costs. Even if you never experience a major flood, homes in flood-prone areas tend to come with an extra maintenance fee. Think about sump pumps that need replacing, basement waterproofing, landscaping that needs better drainage, or dealing with mold prevention. I had a client in a near west suburb whose basement flooded not from the river, but from heavy rains overwhelming the storm sewers. They spent thousands installing a new drain tile system just to keep it dry. So even outside of insurance, you'll want to budget a little more each year for the upkeep that comes with living in a home that's vulnerable to water. Resale value. Another thing many buyers don't consider is resale value. When you go to sell your home down the road, buyers may hesitate once they see that flood zone designation. Even if your home never flooded, the perception alone can make people nervous. That doesn't mean your home won't sell. Plenty of homes in flood zones sell every year in Chicago. But that can limit your pool of buyers, and sometimes that means less negotiating power. If you're weighing 2 properties, one in a flood zone and one that's not, the resale factor is something to keep in mind. Due diligence matters. Finally, and this is really important, not all flood zones are created equal. Some are considered low risk where insurance costs are minimal and actual flooding is rare. Others are high risk where water issues happen regularly. That's why due diligence is so critical. Here are a few steps I always recommend. Check FEMA flood maps for the property's designation. Ask the seller about flood history. Has the basement ever flooded, and if so, how often? Get insurance quotes early so you know exactly what your costs would be. Talk to neighbors. Sometimes they'll give you the most honest picture of what happens during heavy rain. So you do your homework up front, you avoid nasty surprises later. So is buying in a flood zone automatically a bad idea? Not at all. Some buyers decide the location, the home itself, or the price is worth it as long as they plan the risks and extra costs. Others decide it's not a right fit. The key is making an informed choice. I'm Rosen with Keller Williams in Chicago, and my job is to help you sort through those details so you can buy with confidence, whether it's in a flood zone or high and dry.